Welcome back to the Arizona Daily Mix. It's the weekly slippers on, sitting back, talking to my man.
Yeah, it's nice to see you casual.
Mr. Mike Broomhead. I know, I come in casual. He's all dressed up because he does these promos.
Yeah, because everybody knows I dress up all the time.
I know, so we flew it a little bit. But I'm glad you're in this because we got a serious matter going here.
Okay.
And again, Mike never knows what I'm going to bring up to him because he answers my questions on a lot of different issues. The political front right now. And again, it's the hot topic of what happened Wednesday with Liz Cheney. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
what is going on?
I don't know what's going on with leadership. Is it going to fraction the party? I just don't know it will. It's funny to see both parties right now struggling with where they're going to go. AOC and the squad on the left, and then you've got people like Liz Cheney on the right, and is just an anti-Trumper. And I don't know, in my opinion, what we saw with the Trump administration. We have to stop dealing with things in people. You have to deal with ideology. And I think that there were a lot of things that happened during that administration that I was very happy about. But we can't get caught up in the cult of personality. And this seems to be a little bit of that.
There you go. I just kind of like look at this whole factor that it's really putting a strain and a breaking up of the Republican Party. And hold on. And I see it's because of a person and not so much because of what the Republican Party wants to get achieved while they're in Washington.
So this is where I'll give you a little perspective from the other side of the aisle. Republicans have been jealous of the way Nancy Pelosi does things for a long time, and we should be. She gets things done. And she doesn't pull any punches getting things done, whether it's Obamacare or an agenda she wants to push through. And in recent years, when we've had Republicans in charge, they don't seem to be as forceful in getting their agenda pushed through. So in that regard, I think what's happening with Liz Cheney is she doesn't fit what leadership wants to accomplish, whether people like it or not. And what's happening is there's a lot of pushback from some other people that are saying we may start a different party. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. But whether they are going to be able to unify is the issue, because we've got an election coming up in a year and a half.
Yeah.
I mean, in Arizona, there's 6 big races in Arizona that are statewide races, and we got to figure out what we're going to do.
Yeah. And as I'm listening and hearing different, people in different parties and stuff, but again, with the Republican Party, that's what the topic is right now, is that Trump is really going to have us lose again, or have people lose the state or whatever, because he's staying in there. There's no president in history on either side has had someone be like a person being there. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little kind of wild up because I'm hearing a lot of people complain about it, but he's still being active when no other president has been in making decisions and doing this force of Liz Cheney.
Well, I think the reason why is the questions about the election and the idea that he might run again in 2024. And if that was either a yes, he is going to, or a no, he's not, we would know what direction we're going. But as long as that's up in the air, that you're going to see people not knowing which way they're going to go.
Why would you want to run again? Let me ask, why? That's what I think. That's what everybody's wondering. You already did this. You did your time.
I think he could be a bigger influence on candidates and on policy if he didn't run again. That's the way I feel.
Well, they say the person behind the curtain really is the person who runs in front of the curtain, and we know that. So it's kind of crazy. You brought up about the election and losing it. Let's go again. People had their eye on Arizona and these ninjas. They just stopped counting because they had to give up the place for an event.
Tomorrow. It happens today, actually.
Yeah. So now but they're not done at the count. And so what's your take on this whole thing?
What part of it do you want me to go into? I'll give you the quickest version I can give you. It's all about credibility. So they hire this company called Cyber Ninjas that they say is better because when the county did their audit, they didn't trust the county's companies that did the audit. So they hire Cyber Ninjas, who hires a bunch of other subcontractors. The very first week, you had a reporter 4 days in a row breach security and is standing next to the boxes of ballots on day 4. Then on day 1 of operations, they're handing out blue and black pens to volunteers when you can't have blue or black ink near the ballots. Then they want to see the routers, and the sheriff and the county attorney, who are in opposite political parties, both say in unison, you can't have them, it's a security breach. Well, they said, well, we need to find out if these servers were connected to the internet. And then we find out on Wednesday, the Secretary of State's observers find a Wi-Fi server connected to the servers. Now, that they say they've never been connected, they've never been turned on, but they're connected to the servers. My problem with that is it doesn't breed a sense of credibility. And if you want to do this, you have to be credible. And they haven't done that. So here's my concern. Do we think after they break down and they go away, are we going to get a report? Are they going to give us what have we found? How many ballots have we counted? If you go and get a surveillance order with the police department, you can't just have it open-ended. You've got to go back to the judge periodically and say, here's the fruit of our labor. And if there is no fruit, the judge will shut you down. If they haven't found anything yet, I wonder if the pressure is going to be so heavy on Karen Fann, the Senate leader, that she's going to shut it down. Yeah. And we're never going to go back. Sorry, I was as brief as I could be. That's my take.
And I wish we had more time to talk about this because there's a lot of things that we get into. The thing I like about Mike and I is that we can sit down, have these talks, and that's what we want you at home to do, is to have these comfortable talks and no fighting, no anything like that.
And I say this as someone that's been a lifelong Republican. I was in the Bush campaign in 2004, and I used to work I was a volunteer within the party. I was a district secretary for a while. So I'm saying this as someone that wanted to see things done the right way. I just question the validity of what they're doing right now.
There you go. Tell them where they can find you, Mike.
Monday through Friday. You can find me from 8 to noon at KTAR, so it's either the KTAR News app or at 92.3 FM here in Arizona.
Yeah, and don't forget, you can go to aztv.com/heroes to see Mike's wonderful work with our first responders who do a lot for our community. So, Mike, thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, more of the mix after this.